And we are live
We are live this time.
again.
Again. Yeah, I don't know what happened, man.
Hey, listen,
Listen.
the Tintinets be Tintinetting.
Yeah, some funny happened there.
Hello and welcome to Awaken to Joy. I am Shem.
Je suis Omondi.
And today we're going to be discussing a whole load of stuff. The theory around spiritual growth, like if you are all knowing at a soul level,
Yeah.
then what would really soul growth mean? Or is that part of what's baked into this experience? The idea that you have a soul growth, the idea that you are actually growing. Because if you're all knowing, you already know.
That is
Where are you growing? Where are you growing to? Or is growing a concept of here? Is learning a concept of here? Is that the whole reason of the idea behind coming here to experience that which we are not, which is the idea of why we would have to grow, why we would have to learn, why we would have to struggle in anything.
well, I think the idea of growth and evolution, it's kind of you admitting that you're not where you're supposed to be. You gotta you gotta be you got to be in that state in order for you to say I need to grow because you're growing into something, right? So
Yeah.
this is pretty much of a linear way of thinking. And when I mean linear, I'm talking about the idea of timeline of time um, period. So the matter of fact, you think about time, you're saying why, well, you can today is that time, and then in 5 minutes is another time, and there's something that's happened in between, sort of like a distance, like a sort of a space. You indulge in all these concepts, and then the idea of growth is kind of very similar. It's at this moment you were this, and at that moment you're that. So there is kind of like it's this notion of traveling, and we all wrap up all our concept here on Earth. I think that's what you're asking. Is it a concept from this realm? Yes, I think it totally is. Wrap up all the concept around the idea of point A and point B. you know.
It's like I don't see how it couldn't be. You can't be omniscient. You can't be all knowing and then need to remember.
Well, yeah, that's basically the point we're making here.
You see
It's
what I'm saying? So
it's a
that's why I'm thinking that's more of a baked in experience to hear. But then there's so many souls who come through and they do remember and they do know everything and they haven't forgotten. And that was their agreement that they were going to come in and just be like, yeah, I remember all of that.
However, although they remember something that's been very clear, they still succumb to the distortion that is here on duality, regardless, because once you're in that body, and you can attest to that once you come out of your body, once you have an OB, you realize very quickly you're not the same person. Now, in
Ugh.
some occasion, you can project, specifically if you attach to your body, you can project certain aspect of yourself, who you are here, on the other side. But there's also the aspect where you're completely different. You yourself, but you're completely different. You don't
I get
operate
it. I
with
get
the
it.
same standards.
I get it.
Yeah.
Hey, Deanna.
Hey,
Hey,
everybody.
Oliver. Hey, Jay.
Hey, Jay.
Hey, Eyes Open.
Hey, Oliver, Diana.
Yeah.
Yeah, eyes
Hey,
open.
everyone who's in the chats. Just hiya. Um, I think it's pretty baked into the experience, my love.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a big paradox. Actually, the reason why I actually wanted to talk about that as well is because I think it's important. I think it influences people a lot. And I think, in a way, it reduces you, it limits you in your own so-called evolution, because you're admitting to an evolution. You have to admit to an inferior part of yourself and a superior part of yourself.
That bit that you have to strive to,
Yeah,
strive for.
yeah. So in the sake of evolution, it's like almost pressing the accelerator and have the handbrake at the same time. That's basically what you're doing. So you are here just it's that
Donuts.
donuts. So
Yeah.
spiritual donuts, you know what I mean? So yeah, and I think if we allow ourselves to be probably detach ourselves from this whole concept now, it can be challenging because you're still here in this
Yeah.
reality, but there's a lot of things that you might realize that even the concept as it is doesn't make sense, even for you being the best version of yourself. It's not actually the most practical way to do it, and you can see it in manifestation. um, you'll be surprised how you could just spend in your office if you work in an office, and then do this hard work and go out here and you're here doing a lot of hard stuff, so to speak, or hard hours, and then you'll sit down on the couch watching something that make you laugh and raises your frequency, and you've got certain things in your life you always wanted to start manifesting.
Yeah.
So so in a way you let go of the idea that you need to have an action in order to get something.
Well, one thing I've realized is what I could see that is baked into the whole entire situation. And I'm putting on my villain arc out here.
Go
Okay.
on, go on.
If I was to make a game where everyone was supposed to play and then act like they didn't know nothing, number one belief, like I said, would be that you'd have to forget, though
Yeah.
not everybody does. So is it a rule or is it just I said that, but maybe no? And then number two, even if that was so called true, I would definitely make sure that you believe it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd definitely take my time out to make sure that I kept you in that state for as long as possible.
Well, this is why they create belief systems.
And then those belief systems on top of it would have you in this perpetual paradigm of reaching for something. Even if you take like everything that you have to do in the way that society is made,
Yeah.
in the way that civilizations are built, every overarching rule, every pillar of society is built on the idea that you start off from nothing and you build up to something, some ladder, some one foot in front of the other, some achievement, some underneath and then going up. Some sort of elevation has to happen. It can't be instantaneous. You have to take your time. So this slowness and the stagnation and the struggle and the step by step and all of these things we're constantly told, whether that be lining up in the supermarket or going and getting a lesson and passing the lesson, and then you have to go for this many years and then you go for that many years, and it's like
Mm.
everything around it, surrounding it, it's just like it's drenched with, you drench it with the ideas, all the structures that allow for people to have the experience where they accept evolution, even if it might not be their preset.
Well, what's really funny is because what you're describing has a lot to see with the idea of the 3D Earth. Um, so if you think about the concept 3D,
Yeah.
essentially it's you go, let's say, in that directions, okay, you go into that directions, and you go into that direction. That's how
Mhm.
you basically it's three directions, three dimensions. So you get then the 3D concept. So a lot of things we're experiencing here are based off of that. 2D will only be two directions. So and you can see and you can create illusions. So that's why some people are able to do some drawing, 2D drawing, that give you the illusion of 3D. So
Yeah.
there's it's malleable, right? But the minute that you think in the idea of your reality being this, you're enslaved to that box, to that cube, so
Yeah.
to speak. So everything is based off a point A and point B, if you will. So meaning that if you want to get anything, be anything, then you've got to start here and you end up to where you want to be. So we find it hard even to fathom the idea of other omnidirection, the omnipresence, where you would have different direction, other direction than this. So things that to be able to even grasp the concept of this, I think before, I mean, a lot of people allude to the idea that we started as 5D, then dropped down to 3D, and now we're going back to 5D. I believe that yeah, that's a plausible things, and it never was supposed to happen like that way, and there's sort of like a reverse that took place in the in the construct.
I'm smelling some bullshit, and I'm gonna just tell you where. Yeah,
Yeah, go on.
the way you just said that made me feel like, remember when we had 3G and then we
Yeah.
had 4G and now we have 5G and
Yeah.
everyone fighting out 5G?
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I seeing this mirrored of the reflection of this whole entire thing? You know when you know when you are like, remember when Europe had to wait for DVDs, but we had family in the States and we
Yeah.
knew the DVD was out a year ago
Yeah.
and we had to wait for them to bring it over before you could even get that DVD or that piece of music or whatever.
Yeah.
And then a further smack in the face was that you would know the same for technology when it came to like Japan.
Yeah.
And they blatantly tell you in your face that they're 8 years ahead of you. Like, I know you're rolling with toasters now, but they've been doing laser shit on there and that, you know, whatever it may
Well,
be.
okay, but that's very interesting what you're saying, and you're right, because you were talking about I'm gonna play the baddie, so to speak. So how would I set that up in order to dominate the game? So first of all, I'll probably play on the outside of the game. So let's say I'll be probably a being that decide, you know what, if I can get that concept of 3D in all of the humans' head or mind or whatever you want to call it, then when I know that you don't travel nowhere, you just shift to a frequency, then you gotta win the game, because you already know that they are going to self impose this concept, and they'll be limiting themselves in terms of understanding other concepts, other dimension. Because even people say 5D, 6D, can you even fathom what it will feel like or look like? Now, it helps when you have an out of body experience or an experience where you feel you everywhere at the same time in many places, because you then understand, or you see perspective from different people. So, and you can feel what they feel, you feel how you feel, and so that helps to begin to understand how this really work. But I can see how I would limit and plummet this dimension into a 3D dimension.
Just from the belief of it.
Yeah.
Hey, MJ.
Hey, MJ.
I'm kind of feeling that it's one of those situations where if I don't tell you about it and you don't know about it, it's hard for you to conceptualize it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because
so if I never taught you about, like, imagine never learning what a cube was.
Yeah.
Or how that would work. Like, never knowing.
Yeah.
So then find it, and all you've ever known about is what one-dimensional things are and what two-dimensional things are.
Yeah.
So then that's throwing your spatial awareness way off, right?
Way off, yeah.
I remember when I had to do plans in uni, like, because that was part of what I went and, when we were, what we'd learn, what we'd go for in construction and stuff like that. And just doing 3D plans would blow people's minds sometimes.
Yeah.
Some people cannot wrap their head around just a 3D plan.
No, they can't, yeah.
And I know that they say it all the time, but of course it's sexist, but they'll say women's spatial awareness is not as good as men's, yada, 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 yada. Especially like, that's why they're not good at parking, blah, 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 blah. Yeah?
Yeah, I understand.
But it's like it's baked in. It's like if you lie about what we're not, if you pose it like that's what it is, your understanding is going to be fundamentally flawed. So you're not even going to extrapolate things for what they are.
Well, like you say, the idea that it is baked in. What I am particularly interested in um it's in at what level it is baked in. So I have noticed and begin to notice that um belief system have been limiting people, and it's been installed deliberately, and it goes deep. But the same belief system, they don't just stop here on round one. When people cross over, they carry these with them and tend to reincarnate based off of that. So we can even talk about the life review in a minute, but I'm just saying that. So that what that does is that it gets you to come back willingly. Unknowingly, you've decided that based on things that you probably don't agree with, but you don't know that. So then you free will, you exercising your free will and come back. So when you keep people under this belief system, and like you said, if I never told you about it, you find it hard to conceptualize. But that's the idea that you don't know. However, if you're knowing already, and we came in, say the little children will say, "Oh, you already know," and we're fostering this in the fact that you already know. You just got to be patient with yourself and reclaim what's yours. So then this I can see where the evolution of that will take place. But this is why I question the evolutions of consciousness. That's the old trick. If we indulge in the idea of consciousness evolution, then we're admitting that we are an inferior level that what we already are, and that
I get what you're
self
saying.
perpetuate
I get
this
how
whole
you're saying it.
cycle
Yeah, and the game.
and the game.
Yeah. Um, question mark, why are we playing it? Number two, sounds like that type of game I would find out. When you start playing a game and you've gone a couple rounds and you're like, hang on a minute. So, and then you start getting to grips to what the lay of the game is. And then you're like, I'm going to flip the table.
Yeah.
I'm close to flip the table
Yeah.
with this because I'm just like, doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
There's something off here.
Step further, I'm burning the house. Like one what okay, we're
Someone,
making
and
joke
it's
about
like,
this, yeah?
when you're like, where's the rule book?
Why?
And they're like, it's not here. It does. And someone's insisting it's not here. That it doesn't have one.
Yeah.
They're the ones who know the rules and burnt the rule book a long time ago. And no, it's not here.
Wow.
It is not here.
Okay. Um it's I know, I mean, we're joking about this, but I think that it's extremely important, and it may go over a lot of people's head. Now, I'm not saying that everybody, but the importance of that is so crucial. It's almost as if you're going to start talking about these things, it sounds so surreal for some people. So they're never going to delve into it because
Yeah. Hence why there's only 15
and
people on the live.
yeah, and it's and it's the
Do
part,
the math.
it's a part of the game, because essentially what I can see from my own experience and my own perspective, how people limiting themselves as a result. And
I can see what you mean.
yeah,
I liken it to when you go to the supermarket and everyone decides they want to line up in one queue, and like nobody has decided that they want to line up anywhere else. So that just you can see the line get longer and longer and longer before one person says, I'm not going to queue up here. And
yeah.
then someone else says, I didn't know we could do that. It's like unspoken rules.
Well, that's where you
And we
can
follow
witness.
them like crazy.
Yeah.
Like if I start running, like if I go out in the street and I know where I start running, at least 3 people are running with me.
Well, listen, you've explained it so well. Like you inspire me. You're inspiring me even with another example. I'm gonna
Go
say
for
it. You're
it.
gonna be like, oh my gosh, you're right.
Am I?
But this is how you see this, the program running live real time in people parking space. I shit you not, you can come and park on one spot. Somewhat everyone wants to go and begin to park there. Like no other
Parking spots exist
right.
until someone just says,
You see?
I'm going to go up to the other level and park there.
Yeah.
empty parking space. How much times did we used to do that? That's why
Yeah,
we were never out of parking spaces. You just have to be willing to go where other people ain't. I've
exactly.
seen people waiting for a parking spot somewhere, but had they only just gone up one level, empty floor,
Yeah.
total park anywhere, right next to the elevator, all of these things.
It's that's where you see how, and you can check yourself even. I mean, you're never really immune to that as well, because we are so programmed at some point. There's even things you don't think of, and then you realize that, hang on a minute, why am I doing this?
Wait a minute.
Yes, yeah, exactly. You have to check it off. And but it helps. And even to pose yourself in a situation where you're like, okay, you know what, let me be still for a minute and let certain things that I may never have thought of come into me,
Yeah,
because it's already there.
yeah.
I kid you not, things start coming up.
They do, don't they?
But because you keep your mind so busy during the day, there's never that time where you can do that enough. And then you start detaching and yourself from different concepts. You gain downloads, and you're able to even downloads about conceptual things that you were like, wow.
I never had the time to sit and think
Yeah,
about it like that. Or I never had the time to allow myself to just let that come to me.
yeah. I can tell you even one that's very simple. It's about your sense of smell and how it's being rigged. So certain certain culture, if you smell the food, they take offense.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that you can't really smell someone's food if they're cooking, you know, or you have to do that a whole thing about it and then give a compliment, if not, it's taking like, you check in if someone's trying to poison you. That some people do take it like that. But essentially, we are meant to use our sense. Like,
So these are baked into cultural beliefs now
yeah,
of limitations,
yes.
limiting that which
So
you
you don't
are.
want to be disrespectful. So you don't want to start
So you
going,
put it under,
yeah.
yeah, I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's like there's a way that you're trying to behave in order to
Because you have
not
to
look
behave.
rude, and
You
yeah.
have to look
So
civilized, right?
yeah, something you would do naturally. If something smells good, you're like, oh wow, smell great. But if something smell bad, this is for that as well. So
Even when kids say, "Oh, that smells," you're like, "Shh, no, don't be
no.
rude."
So
It does though. It
yeah,
smells like poo,
and then
and you're like, "Shh."
should you eat it?
It does,
No,
but
you shouldn't.
don't say anything, baby girl. It's
Yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, true, true. And we put it under the back of politeness or being dignified or being polite or being courteous or having manners.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Mm.
I think but it's a small example, but there's so many of them. And detaching yourself from these concepts and stuff like that, and allowing yourself to understand that even the idea of omnipresence, that perhaps it is possible to be omnipresent here in
It,
this reality.
perhaps we already are, but we've been
Perhaps
told
already
like
are.
we're naming it different things.
Yeah.
We're naming it different things, and then we're calling it like stress or anxiety or blah blah blah, when really it's like, no, you're picking up on your field, or no, you are feeling into someone else's emotions, they're not actually yours.
Yeah.
Or this intrusive thought thing is, no, you're picking up the full bandwidth of this experience
Absolutely. That's
and
it.
all the possibilities that could unfold from it.
That's right. Yeah.
It's for you to now choose what action you want to take from the bandwidth you're already tuned into.
Yeah.
It's not an intrusive thought. It didn't come in. It didn't break through your front door.
Yeah.
You're in its house.
Yeah.
You are the field. It's not like the field, like that thing broke into you.
Yeah.
You are one with it.
Exactly, you're on the field. And another thing as well, I mean, talking about this, being the field, which means you can manipulate the field. Now that's where you start seeing concepts in regards, I'm going to say, to beings, beings starting coming from different dimensions, and idea of stargates, and the frequency based, and basically the craft they're using. The craft don't travel nowhere. It's just manipulate the reality around it. and then end up to where it needs to be. So that this concept people start hearing slowly, because obviously it's still something people are like, oh wow, how's this supposed to work? And I'm not sure about what you're
We'd
saying.
never been taught.
So
We've never been
yeah,
taught that concept, so
yeah,
we would never have a deep understanding as to how we move through our daily lives.
yeah,
That every second, like new moment, you knew you.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
Well, yeah, and if I keep you in, then forgetfulness is this. What that means is you would have to admit that you are forgotten, and the admission that you are forgotten, it's the very manifestation of the forgetfulness in the first place, and it's taking place since birth and all the programs running
because they all back the same
belief system.
agenda.
Yeah,
I get it.
essentially. That's an interesting
So
question
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm seeing MJ saying that sounds like a rigged game, and then Jay's like, "Nah, scripted."
scripted. Yeah, absolutely.
And MJ's like, "Yeah, I get it." Okay, then we got the banter. They got the banter.
Jay already flipped the table. I feel
Yeah,
you.
of
I feel
course
you
you
on
did.
that.
Of course you did, Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Deanna's like a domino effect. And then MJ saying, imagine being a really powerful superhero with
Omniscience.
omniscience. And yeah, I can kind of sort of fathom that. I can fathom that.
Yeah, we gain there. We gain there now. The more we like go, I mean, I start seeing, because the more I do this for myself, see glitches in the reality. I really start, and something that actually gave me the idea that was possible for myself. I'm talking about, because I won't pretend that I was the only one to think about this. Many people surely thought about that. It's because when I was going through the AIWS, so as a kid, I was scared, so I never thought about it. But then, from my perspective now, thinking about it, I realized what that is. And I realized the ability, the capability of our body and how far we can shape that reality. Literally. But the prerequisite, it's to never admit you can't, never admit you forgot, never admit to none of that. And I also realize how these groups that, they've got lobby and they have a way to do certain things, like never admitting to failure, never admitting to certain things, because ultimately what you admit to, it's what becomes. So I can see.
You could, for us,
Yeah,
it's like, no, you're a narcissist. But if you take away judgment, then you'd realize that why would they manifest failure?
right. If you're able to extrapolate
And
and
if they're
yeah,
they're being unconditionally loving to themselves because they're like, that wasn't a failure, that was a lesson, and lessons learned, and I'm moving on because I love myself.
right. So yeah,
Yeah,
it
like
allows.
not looking away or glazing the fact that they did some freaking atrocities, but I can see the mechanics at work.
Yes. And then thinking about this, the idea of evolution now, is there's ever an evolution? That's why I'm questioning that, in terms of, is there an evolution? That's what we're talking about this today. Because you admitting to an evolution now all of a sudden put you in certain type of reality.
Mm, it's true. I get the concept. Whatever you adhere to,
And I
whatever
mean spiritual
you
evolution.
yeah, whatever you the idea that you adhere to is the idea that is also the limits that you allow yourself.
Yeah.
Because the second you say that we are in an evolution, then or an awakening means that you haven't finished yet. So you're
Yeah.
always in there, not that you're awoken. And then even if you're awoken, then what? You're expanding. Even if you're expanding, then that means that once you were smaller and now you're going to get bigger, which is if you already know and you're all knowing, then you already know. There's
Yeah.
no growing to do. There's no knowing to do. It's already there.
Yeah. And it's like this idea of the evolution of consciousness. And it's also rooted here. Realm one. Realm one is the idea that we were we were doing atrocious things and bad, and look at the video all the time and what if that ever existed. But anyway, that's a subject for another time. um and then look what happened now. We're so much better. I mean, yeah, we had the other day the World War II, but now we've understood and we don't practice such things, blah blah blah. uh,
Quand même.
Whatever the running narratives I'm talking about,
Ah,
it's the idea that, well, that's because our consciousness were, and that's probably a part of this new age idea of spirituality. Or, well, back then is old spirituality, and we were, our consciousness level was really low, and then only a few of us were enlightened. I mean, and then now, we just, this is it, this is the big time, it's the, and that in itself, it's, every time I hear it, I'm like,
it's
how,
like we're missing something here.
yeah, it
Just a
is
little
it me,
bit
or
like
we are gullible? So, to the point that this sounds very staged, that's what I'm trying to say. Very staged and manipulated, that's all.
feels like another part of the game
Yeah,
that you can choose to play or not.
absolutely. And it's
Hi,
like,
right to right.
all right, all right, bonjour.
Bonjour.
And it's like this contradiction, this constant contradiction, and I can see this is not really benefiting everybody, anyone. I mean, it's like, and so now I'm actually, even the idea of time is just say, like, when we say, oh, I've got a deadline, I don't speak of in this term, you know, or trying to set certain time. I'm trying to be very very aware when I do that, not to indulge in the idea of, this got to be done by that time, or what, or what. It's all this idea of evolution, like, oh, because once I do this, only then this can take place. You're already predefining everything when you do that. You
And you're
don't
not
give,
leaving that a possibility open
yeah,
for it to happen sooner.
absolutely. And you keep on doing it, and it's heavy. It's a heavy, loaded.
I understand because I'm
Yeah.
looking at the way that the children operate, and I'm like, and the younger they are, the more flexible they are around this. Though our elders have seemed to have finessed the system somewhat, but
Yeah.
but
But it's because we're homeschooling them as well. This helps this to detach from whatever's is going on. And I'm not saying because you don't homeschool your kid you can't do that. It's just that, like everything, it's going.
you
If
know
you
this.
if you watch certain things on TV, and these things are regarding, maybe some things, it not to be true, but you watch it for entertainment, you do have to remain very aware that this, it doesn't influence you in the direction that you don't want it
Want to
to
go.
want to go. um so you have to pay more attention sometime when you still part I mean, we're part of other things, and we same experience would be like, okay, just go pay
Remember,
attention
I
to that.
told you. Do you know what? When you just said that, I was just like, we could be homeschooling and teaching them a whole crock of shit at the end of the day. Like, I'm
Hmm.
just. You remember, I had that whole entire experience where I was like, I need to get into the nooks and crannies of this homeschooling thing. Like, what's really good? Like, what's the real benefit here for us as a family, like as individuals, just for our group, just for our little clique? Like,
Yeah.
what's good? And like I said, it's like it's it works for us. And
Yeah.
that my conclusion was it's going to depend on where everyone is coming from, each individual family, and how it's going to fit with your
Yeah,
family.
absolutely, absolutely.
And even a concept like manifestation and them limiting themselves. Trying to kind of get out of the way of the things that they haven't broken yet more than anything.
Hmm.
And and actually learning from them.
Yeah.
Um like the 6-year-old, okay?
Yeah.
I have never seen anybody manifest back to back gifts the way she does. Like even surprised ones that she wanted it, she spoke about it, and she let it come. She don't ever attach a date to it or a time.
Yeah.
She's willing to take it so graciously whenever it comes, but they always come early for her.
Yeah.
She'll receive them from total strangers sometimes. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
sure.
wow. And she's like, yeah, it's my superpower. Like
Yeah,
that's what I do. And I'm like, I got shitload to learn from you.
yeah.
They're just, they never relinquished that thing that they make you relinquish when you have to sign up to other things.
Well, to be fair, she hasn't gone through that system. I mean, the two older one we have, they gone through the school system. So I've seen the difference. It's not like I haven't seen the difference in terms of what program is running, and you can also they program them when they come at home, and like it doesn't have to be a
Oh
thing
yeah,
where
we know people who
yeah,
just
yeah,
wait until they come home. It's
yeah,
like, do
yeah,
crocker shit. Don't
yeah.
believe that. And here,
So
let's do this for an
yeah,
hour. Yeah,
so you
it's
can do that.
like
I
I said,
mean,
it's like
it's possible, but I can tell you the difference in
it's a
terms
tailor made thing.
of seeing the younger one that has never been in that system. Then yeah, the way of thinking is different.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's
So
fascinating to watch it
yeah,
unfold. But I think the whole entire system, because this is the worry. The worry is the old system's going to crumble and there'll be nothing left. And what are we going to do without systems? We need them, which is, I think, the whole. That's where I get back to my villain arc, where first
yeah,
things first, I need to make you believe you need them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true.
I need that.
Yeah,
Because without you thinking you need them, you'll never try to hold on to them or fight for them in the ways I need you to fight for them, so I can, so that you never relinquish me having some sort of power over you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You'll
Definitely. Yeah,
beg for it back at
yeah,
some point. That,
yeah.
but what will it look like when it's different?
Well,
And I can see a hybrid of it happening before my eyes. I think a lot of people are homeschooling like they always were, but quietly.
yeah, I think so. I think what it is I think so. I think there's definitely
But then
people
there's
doing it
also
quietly.
people opening up different schools that do different things quietly.
Quietly, that's absolutely true. I mean, 100%. That's for sure. It's just that I think what it is the number one worry for people is that they don't know anything else without it. So they're saying, yeah, but if they don't do that, what's going to happen for them? And again, assumption, basically, you're pre-deciding that basically, if that is the case, then they're going to do without. It's already an assumption that they're going to do without. That's where you're usually end up to say, well, no, I'm not going to do that because I don't have another solution. And fair enough, if you don't have another solution, then that's fine not to do that. It's just that
I'm getting to a swords energy. I'm getting this,
it's,
not seeing the third way.
it's
Not seeing that
yeah,
there's not only, sometimes there's not two choices to make. You're just seeing it only two choices when there's always a third way to go.
yeah. And
Like,
also,
you know,
are you acting from a place of lack? So if there's only one thing that exists,
mm,
and that same thing is not suiting you, and your only reason for staying in it, whatever that thing is because you don't know anything else. You are in absolute ignorance, and I don't mean that in the disrespectful way. In the true meaning of it, you ignore that in
anything else.
anything else. Then that is not actually uh,
Good
uh,
enough reason to stay.
yeah. If you break it down for to like if you break it down to the core of it, you realize no, you whether it's good or bad for you to stay, it's you're operating in absolute lack because you have a lack of choice. You're only
Mm.
taking you're making that decision based off the fact that you don't have other choice.
It's like this parking space. It's that I didn't know I
Um,
could do this as well. I didn't know we could park there. I didn't know we could go upstairs. Why? Because someone didn't tell you could go upstairs, or you didn't want to venture to somewhere other than you saw someone else venturing.
when you allow yourself to do that, then you realize soon enough, perhaps you have to be a little more courageous, or perhaps you have
Adventurous.
or more adventurous, and that's okay. We all go through different phases in our lives at the end of the day. But it is a true thing where you have to look at it sometimes and be like, hey, why am I actually doing this? And if the conclusion is that no, I'm actually comfortable with it and it's totally fine, then go ahead. Because certain things I've come to realize they're perfectly fine for some people. It's just that the idea that there's one system for everybody.
A one size fits all. That's why I
It's
brought it back to this
very
piece about
unrealistic.
homeschooling. It's not a
Yeah.
one size fits all. It's actually the opposite of that. Because no, we have the 4 children doing it. None of their lessons look the same.
No, can't be.
None of the methods of teaching them anything look the same.
No, can't be. Yeah.
They barely have crossed interests like that, like some basics, but for the most part, totally individual experiences here.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, absolutely.
It's really like it's an individual game.
It is an individual game, ultimately. However, we gotta see it for what it is, though. It's a one-sided game. So if you end up to be fit, if that fits perfectly for you, that's great. But if it doesn't, you do have to find solutions.
Or it will niggle at you at some point.
Yeah.
Hence the whole burnout thing. Hence the whole. Well, I'm going to speak for myself, which is finding myself in postnatal depression. Now I look back, it was just me going through a part of my soul just being like, something's not right, and I don't know what it is, and there doesn't seem to be able to find a solution here. But my whole vessel is telling me that I've already moved on, and for some reason, my psyche can't catch up.
Yeah.
And I'm then letting go of that psyche and realizing, no, like none of those beliefs are mine. I'm just hanging on to this because I haven't been posed any other options, and I'm too scared that there'll be nothing left for me.
Yeah,
There'll be
that's
nothing else for me to hold on to. Like then you feel like, what's next then? Free fall.
well, that's the point of being courageous. Often, when you say that, people take it that you have to just like jump in and and take risk. No one say that. You can just even keep your children in the school they are in. You can keep the job you have. It is nothing wrong with that. However, if we go towards, let's say, a system where job will be eventually replaced by AI, which you hear that a lot, then it's worth questioning, what do these children learn at school? Because essentially, fine, they're trying to just pose the idea of, they learn certain social aspect of the society, but that's can be questionable as well. But I'm just saying, essentially, it's like, well, for the career or career for jobs that are going to be replaced anyway. You do have to ask yourself the question, at least that question. So, being the full knowledge, even if you do take the decision to still go that route about it, it is important now we come to a point where you're going to have to ask yourself that question.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that because I'm
Anyways,
thinking, if you're worried about your own job, then what about theirs then? Their one's gonna look pretty dusty then, no? If you go by that belief.
oh, it's looking to be replaced anyway, where no one actually needs to work. It's going there. I mean, you even see what we're doing and how much we use AI, and already we're all replacing certain
Tasks
tasks we would do, or other people will pay other people to do. We don't need to be done by other people as a result. It's no malicious. It's just it makes financial sense for us and productivity sense for us. I.e., I do less, I be more, and then I get more happening. So
I'll be
it's
able to give more.
so we're already going into that direction. This part of then this awakening, if we want to admit to the idea of awakening, although we could have seen that coming. Um, then yeah, uh it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like we, by design, playing more into it, actually not looking into it, actually perpetuates it even more.
Yeah, because we're just, it's like damage control rather than, okay, let me really just
Yeah.
dissect this.
Yes.
We're like, okay, I just putting out fires,
Yes.
emotional fires, running around and seeing what's burning and just putting it out as fast as possible, rather than like, why is that burning over there? And can I just leave it and let it burn? But
Basically, yeah.
just, but like I
Is it gonna
said,
get
it's
to me
this,
if is it not
yeah,
what it
it's
is?
this fear
Is it?
of,
Yeah.
what am I going to do without that?
Yeah.
what am I going to do without that? And again, like what I'd felt like the fear of the free fall. Like, if I don't have this, then what will I have to hold on to?
Yeah, I mean, if everyone's going to reclaim the the ledger attached to the birth certificate, let's say if that happen, um, then no one really need to work. Let's say,
Mm.
then then what? Then now what? And I think it's essential for people to ask themselves the question, the possibility. And a lot of people say, that's how's that gonna even happen? So some people they're still there. But that's a point of manifesting that. If you want to see say an outcome, you just have to think of the possibility of an outcome. So it's that simple. I'll give you an example, talking about Bitcoin. Remember saying, we were saying to ourselves, wouldn't that be nice to just being able to be your own bank? And essentially, maybe 2 years later, and I remember us watching the Northern Rock story about the bank that was closing,
It was a bloody
the debacle where they seized the money of these people, and someone had to climb the building, go to the second, third floor in order to threaten them so they can't get their money. Basically, they were closing down because of the 2008 crash. And I remember you and I having that conversation, be like, it's got to that point where we require to be our own bank, or at least have a system that is similar. And then 2 years, not even later, Bitcoin came in, which is essentially that idea.
But then the idea of it now is getting people to relinquish the idea that they can't do it themselves, or that they need a third party to do it for them, which I've always seen. Like, just as a kid, I thought, oh, so that's where people go to keep their money safe or store their money. But then remember, I was telling you about my mum working in an old people's home. She ran the old people's home, right? So then I
Yeah, I
got to
remember that.
chat to
Yeah,
people who lived through the Great Depression.
yeah,
And some of them, till that day, were still storing their own money and being their own bank, essentially, and were never without, and said, no, like, I know better. Like, and I still know, like, for them, they did thrive. They had a home, they had all of those things, but they never trusted again. And I remember it being explained to me as they're a storage facility and they were supposed to look after people's things,
yeah,
and they didn't.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
That's
said,
true.
so what happened for them losing it and then not being accountable? And they were like, storage facility gone wild.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And I
Yeah.
was like, once you hear it like that, you can't unhear it.
No, you can't. But that touches on literally people beginning to understand. That's why I'm like, forget about this consciousness evolution or any of things or spiritual growth. At the end of the day, you can't help it. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. So you're gonna. It's an experience anyway, essentially. So you're going to have these things taking place, and it's you got to be courageous enough, I realize, to just look at it for what it is, and to a point that even allowing yourself new concept. That's what this whole conversation is about. Really, is allowing yourself new concept. And I'm now seeing it in real time. Don't quite remember what it was the other day, but there was some things I was saying the other day, and then boom, the things that happened. Oh yeah, it was about a transfer regarding one of these companies that transfer money, and I was like, oh, they take so long to transfer this money. I was just they got to be faster now because it's there, so it
It
has to
exists
be.
already.
Literally 2 weeks, not even after that, boom, instant transfer.
They announce. Well, this
So
is
it's
also the thing. When those things come up for me now, which is what we having through our conversation with Blessed and everyone, like, about that.
yeah.
What's that one thing? Where's your line? Where's that bit where you're like, nah, that's too scary for me. That's too scary for me to look at.
Well, you do have to. Um, then that's fine. You don't have to look at it.
That's too scary for me to reevaluate. Where's your
But
line?
but why are you scared You have to ask yourself, why is that too scary? I mean, for you to evaluate.
At the time, well, this is why when that feeling comes up within me, why am I so scared to have a look at this? It's usually attached to fear of loss or fear of going without.
More than every fair is based around some sort of
Loss.
loss there. It is around that, but it is essentially fueled by a programming that is within us, and it's the idea of this 3D concept, this timeline that is linear, and in order to get anything in this world,
You
it's
have to
got to go
wait.
through efforting,
Yeah.
and there is sort of like through the effort, like a bit like when you wait for the joke, you stand-up comedian, there's a build up, and there you go.
The punchline.
And it's like we take it as a relief, which now we're taking something that should be completely normal to us as a reward. Manifestation is not a reward. That's the issue.
But that's the villain arc genius of the system of it, because now I got you so attached to basics
Yeah.
by withholding it from you long enough for you to even work for them. Just be desperate for them, be so focused on them.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like the ultimate carrot,
The
it's
ultimate
that.
coward. Yeah, is that. And you know what? This is why I'm so interested in writing about these program that are running. I mean, like what I'm doing now at the moment about the color. The idea how you'd be so surprised how deep this thing goes.
I'm
It's
just as I'm
crazy.
editing it, I'm like, it's juicy. But
And you brought another concept that we're gonna put in it as well.
but talk to
That
me about that other concept then.
what
The
concept?
first lie of color then, or the first, what can I say, augmentation or misconception that's put in
I can give you.
about
Yeah,
color
I can
when
give you.
it comes to the first one, which is the one that everyone battles with. Is just the idea around our belief systems that have been attached to dark and light.
Well, essentially, is to influence your free will. So, what for dark and light? Okay, we're going to derive on one thing. We're going to talk about something that's been very obvious and is betraying to the dark aspects. Yeah.
Mm.
So, as even through the idea of racism, how they always made people feel like browner skin is lesser than, and there was this whole concept, and lighter skin is better, and people,
Colorism.
yeah, colorism, self-induced, these type of things. And you can see it even in black community with colorism, like you said. They have this hierarchy, and I think even in Indian community as well, they do that as well.
It's
This
everywhere.
caste level and stuff like
It's
that.
everywhere in one way,
So
shape,
it's
or
pretty
form.
much everywhere. So that is a thing already. The different shades of color
And
actually will
how
dictate.
how
Yeah.
it's woven through.
Yeah.
It's woven through the
And
system.
that's yeah.
Villain arc 101,
Right.
right?
Right. And that's a very basic level. And in terms of dark, the dark aspect of ourselves, and as we know, you can get light. You can't get light without the dark. Instead, we can refer to the color black and white, and the contrast between these two color,
Mm.
and the idea that still one is good and one is bad, or one has clean and one has dirty, although it's neither of. But anyway, that's another subject. But then I'll give you an example about the idea of maybe the devil and dark. So let's say if you have put it in the context of OBE, let's say you have an OBE, and that happened to me. That's funny. And you see a being with red eyes. People will swear down, probably project their own belief and how they feel about it as being malevolent. Just because you got red eyes. So that's got to be that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Too bad for albinos.
Too bad. Oh, listen, I've seen that play out.
So
I've seen that
it's
play out at a Christian, and I was like, "Yo, some kids are all the way in, so young,
yeah.
but they just refuse to play with this one albino kid at this christening." And I promise you, he was the nicest one there. Like the rest of them were pretty much stuck up, and they just wouldn't play with him just off the back of his color and the color of his eyes.
So the point being is, if you basically see certain things, there's different layers. Before there's the first layers, the programming. Usually you see something that makes you feel a certain way. This is essentially teaching you how to change your reaction to it. So for some people, it's going to be walking in a painted room, painted right, and that's going to cause them like anxiety or certain things, you
Yeah.
know. And it's not to say you got a love right or not. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is the reaction you have, then I can begin to manipulate you if I know you're having certain reactions to certain colors. It's already preset in your program, running your program. So it's a very interesting idea and subject.
As you're talking about this,
Yeah.
I'm simultaneously going through all of the things that you have to look into and relinquish as a interior designer.
Yeah.
You know, I love interior design. You know, my passion for architecture and interior design, right? A lot of the trends that you see coming and going are based on how they want to influence people's space, right?
Yes.
Or how they feel about this space. And as time has gone by, there's different concepts that have come in, like the concept of magnolia, heavy in these streets at London.
I remember.
Yo.
90s 101.
Oh,
Yeah.
magnolia.
Magnolia. Yeah.
Magnolia. It's like,
oh, I love a magnolia painted room.
and then we got snazzy, and some people would say, no, yellow. It's got to be yellow, got to be sunshine yellow.
Yeah.
So you'd go from magnolia, and for those who were really snazzy, they might put a little bit of sky blue or a bit of yellow. But that was like the main palette.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was a time where like, no, I'm modern.
Yeah.
So I'm either going to go for white, and then what was the next one? Do you remember it? The big one.
Okay.
Some of us are still
gray.
There. Right.
Yeah, remember.
Gray.
Yeah.
I blinked my eyes 1,000 times when the grey came in.
Yeah.
I was like, we fought so hard to get away from black and white TV, and we paint our houses grey. What is going on?
I know.
And you can call it elephant's breath, and you can call it all these other things, but it's still grey.
Yeah. But you know what?
But then look at how our vision and our thoughts change about those things.
That's what it is. It's almost like basically you could pick any colors. There's nothing wrong with the colors. That's the whole point. It's just how you react to it and how you what changes in you and what is your discernment. The whole point of the book comes with exercises anyway in order to reprogram yourself. But basically, we have underestimated how deep it goes.
But then look at this though. Yeah, I really and grey. Had you had told someone like in the early 90s, look, the next color up is grey. That's gonna be the next thing you want to be. You want to be really futuristic. It's gonna be grey. They would have categorically refused you. But those same people, fast forward 20, 30 years, have got grey everything in their home. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
so if you go past like a grey day, what do you feel on a grey day? Most people feel quite depressed.
Yeah.
But aren't the suicide rates higher than ever?
You're touching on the point. The books talk about this. So basically, if you do feel like this, if you teach your body a certain way, then the body begin to confuse certain things after a while. So it doesn't know the difference. So if grace makes you, if you associate grace to sadness, you will react as such. Which means in order for you to really enjoy the grey room you love, you would have to check with yourself if in your running programs this is not associated to sadness.
Exactly.
Otherwise,
let it go and enjoy your grey.
Yeah. And often it is associated, and it goes the other way as well, where people drop the guards where they shouldn't, just because of color that's so-called safe.
And don't you think like people will say blue? You have to have a blue suit or a black suit. Whatever happened to a nice purple tux, eh? Why we got to go in with the blue or the black? What are we doing?
Well, you know,
You see what I'm saying? And all of these things we've like held on to, like
yeah,
what you're saying. Like,
yeah. It's big. It's bigger than what people think, and it goes very very far because now you often hear the red light treatment. Thing is, if you're in association with red being anything bad or say danger, risk, or devil, or whatever is you associate yourself, your association to red color is, you won't have the same effect even if you use that red light because your body will respond to what your knowledge of what red is.
you programmed it in on an energetic level.
Yeah. So you think you're doing, no, actually it doesn't work because of that. So there's
All of
this
these things to
filter.
relinquish.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know as I was going through it, I was like, this is so juicy. But then the black, going back to the black and white idea, and I'll tell you why it was challenged. Because remember we had that well, not we didn't, but I'm not taking you out of the situation because you did low key bring me back. But remember when I went into the void?
Oh yeah, when you, yeah,
Yeah.
when you cracked
Okay.
his skull.
Yeah. And
Almost.
yeah, and I,
Yeah.
went into the void for a while. And I was like, nothing there. It's black.
Well, then that's
There is
what.
not nothing there,
Yeah.
but it is black.
Yeah, but this is why
But
people
it's
panic.
nothing to be. There's no. There's zero to be scared of there.
But if you're okay, if you're scared of the dark, this is why people panic when they get an OB and they experience the void, because black, it's, if they don't see it, it's dangerous. Like it's you also your association to the idea that black is unsafe or dark is unsafe, darkness is unsafe. It's so heightened that you'll project that.
Yeah. Instead of feeling into what it is you're actually feeling on the soul level.
Yeah.
Which was, I'm all right here.
Yeah.
Like womb energy.
Yes.
And then I figured, you're in darkness in the womb, in the very birthplace, as you come into this experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, question mark. I'm leaving everything open now.
Yeah. Of course, you're not trying to predefine
as we know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand.
But still, that idea that we are birthed out of darkness, you're putting the idea here now that we are scared of our very birthplace, the birthplace of the spark that we are.
Yeah.
What is that doing to you?
Well, it goes
to be scared of that.
Yeah, I mean, if you know anything about hypnosis, then which I think in some level right now it's used on people, so I can hypnotize you with different techniques. So it colors be one of them. It's on a subconscious level program you in a certain way. If I already know the majority of the populations perceive red as something that's an alarm or something to pay attention in an urgent way, or is associated with the devil, then I can create environments. I can manipulate your attention in a way that suits me. So that's where programming and manipulation take place. So it is essentially taking place. You can look around you and you will see all these signs and ask yourself this question. But yeah,
as I was going through and editing it, I realized about how much times I've had experiences that have shown and proved to me the opposite to what I'd been taught about certain colors. And like, I'll take it back again to this dark situation.
Yeah.
When I was taken by a cloaked being, I now know that was angelic seraphim energy straight up.
Yeah.
Like, and it opened up a portal with it, showed me this way, and that way is the way that I led to another realm that took me to what I was asking for, to go to, like the angelic realm, the realm of the gods. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what we'd consider like the ancient gods. Yeah. This person, well, this being was was big and the blackest of blacks, and in black clothing. And if you want to go into the program of what we're supposed to fear, appeared to be that which you should fear.
Yeah.
But I felt no fear. I just knew on a soul level there was nothing to be fearful of. And had I had been, I would have circumvented this whole entire amazing experience that I had for somewhere that I'd longed to be, for somewhere that I'd forgotten I essentially came from.
Yeah, absolutely. That reminds me of one of my experience when I saw that being with red eyes. Cloaked
What was it?
being with red eyes. What the being?
Yeah, like,
It
I'm not
was
asking for a name or anything, but like, what was its purpose?
its purpose. It was sitting on top of these. It's like it was in a grotto, and then it was a big like a mount with like openings where people live in these places. So they live in these spaces. So he had people living in these spaces, and he was on top of it, and he was overlooking at them like a protector. And he was cloaked, and then he saw me during that OB coming nearby, and I looked at him. He looked at me, not in a bad way or anything. Like, we just noticed each other's presence. I didn't go in. Was just looking at it and just see what was taking place and what it was. And he was just on top of it, like he had his place just right at the top, like a pyramid, but it was like a conic pyramid. It wasn't like but it's not a pyramid, but it was like a cone shape, and it was on the top, and it had like hundreds of different, I guess, doorways where people, that's the where they live, really. And it was there just it gave me that protector energy, and it had a cloak, a gray cloak. And it had red eyes. I think a gray belt, if I remember right. And yeah, and that's why I'm like, this idea that yeah, red doesn't mean what you think it means. Yeah.
And that's and as I'm learning as I'm reading it. So thank you for researching it.
Thank you.
Because it's one of those things that was like really in plain sight for me. And it's funny because even like when we were like decorating the home,
yeah,
and we picked certain colors, and people were like, "Oh, how could you even?" And I was like, "Firstly, it's not your house."
But that's where you see the running programs.
And that's when you see their running programs.
Yeah.
And then you finally decorate your home, and then they come and they're like, "Oh my God, I would have never thought of this, but it feels so good in here."
Yeah, like, absolutely.
Okay.
That is basically because the first time I had that a download about it, and it's a long time ago actually. I think we're at in France at the time, and it was like, colors aren't what you think it is.
How can they be when we only see so much of the light spectrum?
Yeah.
And then here we go. I'm coming back in.
Yeah.
Villain arc again. Firstly, number one, mole energy. You're blind. Okay, you can only see so much.
So we'll go do that. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna lie to you, right? And then
not even that, 1%.
Even no, a fraction of 1%.
A fraction of, yeah, whatever that number is.
Okay. Yeah. And then I'm gonna lie to you about what it is that little strip that you can see. I'm gonna lie to you about every single one of those as well. So many layers of BS.
It is.
It's laughable at some point.
Yeah, it's worth reprogramming yourself. I think even to and I think it's going to be that. I think essentially we'll be reprogramming ourselves in different ways, about colors, about the days of the week, about a bunch of stuff that we've talked about about this whole construct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
These are the depths of things we're getting into. This is why I was suggesting that.
Or probably deprogramming ourselves.
Whichever one.
Yeah, whichever one you.
Whichever way you want to see it, or just opening up to different possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're limitless, opening up to the limitless possibility.
Limitless possibility, yeah. It's an experience after all.
Oh, look, we've been going on.
Yeah, we've been going on. You know what? Right to right. Thank you. I mean, we are looking forward. We can carry that conversation over on Sunday, isn't it?
I think we're going to have to, but because
Yeah.
there's going to be lots of questions. I'm going to go through some of them before we leave.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to start like here. All right. Acceptance isn't okay. All right, here we go. Seeing it isn't the same, but seeing it now, so believing it is the same as well. And then right to right says Gray. Okay, so I do my best too, which is being.
Yeah, being, yeah.
All right, Gray was preparing us for AI,
Oh, the Greys.
robotics.
You're talking about
and
the Greys?
transhumanism,
The beings.
color gray.
Oh, the color gray. Okay. Because it seems that apparently the Greys, it's funny we're talking about that. The only reason I've said that is because remind me that the Greys negotiated technology, giving technology to our government in exchange of few of our
doing
people,
a couple things strange for a piece of change. I know.
change, and I wouldn't be surprised if AI was one of these technology. But yeah, gray, the color, yeah, absolutely.
And we missed so much. But I can see why, and that is great that you brought that up, because we have a Pinterest account, and we go over different beings in that Pinterest account, and I promise you, till this day, the most popular one, bar none, is people are really interested in the Greys.
Yeah.
So you make a very good point, right to right.
Yeah.
Being is more important than doing, says Eno. Yeah, effortless effort.
Effortless effort, yeah.
Sound is chopping in and out again. Okay, sorry. Sorry about that. These are these wires. See, we got a new mic. I'll still have to get some new cords.
So, you're seeing darkness and light are the same thing. They are essentially, yeah. You can't get one without the other. It's thinking that puts borders around it, so the thinking can manifest its versions into existence here. Back is all things, including the light. Yes. Wild conversation. Thank you, Thank you, Liana. The conversation is cooking. Oh, you got something coming up talking about cooking soon.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, another book, like a concept that's quite cool. But yeah, guys, I mean, when we drop these books, we'll let you know anyway, as always. But it's an interesting perspective, and I think it's very important, actually.
It is.
That's why we're doing it in the first place.
Yeah, it is. Plus, I'm not going to take too much credit for it. It was a download, so I was picking it up in the field. Someone was going to pick it up.
Yeah,
I just picked it up.
Likewise, but yeah, I mean, you still have to take the credit because you still have to put it into form here, don't you?
Yeah.
So
with the help of a couple other souls. So
it wasn't without its willingness. You acted from a place of free will, so you had a choice. You could have said, fuck it, I'm not gonna do it. Do nothing about it. But you just were compelled to do it. Likewise. So yeah,
I was.
Yeah.
We will see you on Sunday, won't we?
Yeah, Sunday, actually.
We will see you on Sunday for our lovely Sunday morning chat or afternoon chat or evening chat, depending on where you are. When is the limit to there is no limit to purchase the tickets. Trust me, I just turn up. This is what happens. Me and Malekta turn up to these lessons, and believe me, the less people that are there low key, the conversation is juicy, and then we meditate, and then we conversate again. And then we keep it pushing.
Oh yeah, because tomorrow I was thinking,
tomorrow I do have my meditation class, and it's group meditation, and me and Malekta are looking so forward to it because it's just been a really good time. We've been exploring it together, and there's so much more coming from it we want to share with you guys. So there is no limit on when you can go and purchase a ticket. You could just go pick one up whenever, even if it's an hour before. It's fine. You can just drop in. We'll be happy to see whoever can make it. And if not, you can catch us on the following week. And I really look forward to it. So Thank you for coming again. Thank you for conversating. Thank you for sharing. And we will see you. I'll see you tomorrow. And we will see you on Sunday. All right. Much love.
Much love. Ciao.
Ciao. Au revoir.
Au revoir.